Hello everyone. The real reason behind Meghan's interview, it's worse than you think. What do you think the real reason is? Money or fame or reputation? I'm going to explain it all now. I hope you stay calm, because what I'm about to say about Meghan and Harry will probably make you angry. Meghan Markle and Harry's interview with Jane Polly has sparked speculation about why they did a full TV spot just to launch a website. It's hardly groundbreaking news. We now know that the questions asked during this interview were provided to the Sussexes ahead of time for approval and, very likely, preparation. As a result, Meghan's claim that she is surprised to be probed about her claims of mental health issues is patently false. I get where you are, though I wasn't expecting it, but I get where you're coming from because there appears to be a common thread. But why bring all of this up again now? Especially because the entire issue simply emphasizes Harry's failure to assist Meghan, as well as the couple's inconsistency on this matter. As a result, it exposes or reminds the audience of the numerous lies and exaggerations contained in the Oprah interview, as well as those associated with this very subject in terms of Meghan and Harry's remembrance of the incident. Given the potential dangers, bringing this up now raises the question of why they chose to showcase this replay of the Oprah interview at this time. I would like to do a survey that those who have watched this Oprah interview, if anyone has watched it, can please comment number 1, and if anyone has not watched it, can comment number 2. What's more unusual is Harry's obvious discomfort with the issue, complete with quick blinking and a stiff manner, and his failure to extend any form of reassuring gesture to Meghan while she explains it. The public's concern and compassion for Catherine has been on full show. We have all witnessed an outpouring of compassion for Princess Catherine, with hundreds of cards and well wishes sent to her and her family, as well as the King. The public is now wondering if Harry and Meghan have grown upset with the lack of response to Meghan Markle's purported troubles. Was this done to give the Sussexes, particularly Meghan, a moment of compassion, motivated by a desire for Meghan to receive a similar response, outpouring of sympathy, and so on? For her charges against Oprah, we know that Harry and Meghan were dissatisfied that they did not have the same status as the current Prince and Princess of Wales, and that they competed in areas such as public approbation, popularity, booms, and more. They have frequently contrasted their own treatment to that of William and his family, so the thought that this was done to generate sympathy for Meghan is not too far-fetched. In reality, it would be pretty on-brand for the couple, who appear to release photographs or postings on the royal family's birthdays and holidays in a very petty, highly showy, and sometimes envious fashion. Even when it is to their own detriment, it does not result in positive press attention. We are told that the purpose of this interview was to publicize the launch of They've bullied journalists and certain family members. Spare and the various interviews provide ample evidence of this. However, a substantial chunk of Harry and Meghan's conversation is spent on Meghan Markle, vaguely discussing her accusations from the Oprah interview, which have been challenged, and the Sussexes themselves giving conflicting accounts of this alleged problem. So this diversion about Meghan and the replaying of that film felt out of place, like a forceful shift away from the families who were supposed to be the focus of this discussion and this platform that they were establishing. Did Harry and Meghan expect this to spark an outpouring of compassion for Meghan? Headlines about her bravery in telling this story again? Is that what the interview was intended to elicit? If so, it failed, in part because of the inaction, inconsistencies, exaggerations, and lies that were immediately released with the Oprah footage, but also because of Harry and Meghan's 5-year campaign against the royal family and the press, which has left them looking largely like the bullies in the situation. They are now known for being overreactive, whiny, entitled, and petulant. They've been chosen as the most loathed public people for the past 2 years in a row due to their terrible behavior and idiotic oversharing, which has only highlighted how unlikable these two are. Finally, The fact that this did not succeed and did not result in a massive public outpouring of pity will most certainly be blamed on the press and bias by the pair, rather than accepting responsibility for the reputations that they have made for themselves. For a couple who had spent the better part of a decade displaying their hypocrisy, collecting undeserved awards, complaining and blaming everyone and everything around them for every problem and dissatisfaction, and bullying their own family members all the while. The idea that they could elicit sympathy in this manner was fantastic. But what are your thoughts? Was this an opportunity for the Sussexes to rally their supporters? On the other hand, do you see that it is getting more and more difficult for her to hide her dark side and hatred of Harry in public and on TV? One of the reasons real royals don't do interviews is because they know their every micro-expression and movement will be analyzed. Meg's is acting, but she's not a good actress. So it shows it's much easier to be genuine. She's in a pit and handing herself a shovel with every interview she does. He doesn't even touch her hand, as in any united or compassionate recognition for what they are saying. They loathe each other, but not as much as the general public loathes them. Ha ha ha. Especially, obviously Harry's wife has never matured beyond 6th grade. Any 40-plus-year-old woman who continues to stir up controversy will never grow up. She is that one relative that families hope never show up for family gatherings. A mature person would move on and learn from her misfortune. Harry, on the other hand, has always been jealous of his brother from the time they were children. He too has not matured and unfortunately found another person to encourage his bad behavior. In my opinion, I do not think they ever have just one motive. There are multiple layers of self-serving motives, some of which are hidden beneath the veneer of doing good. Their website is data mining. They are trying to repair their damaged image. Meghan is determined to have people believe her previous lies by adding spin and insincerity. They are using the issue of online bullying to secretly take small steps toward eliminating opposing narratives in social media. They want to eliminate legitimate criticism by calling it racism, bullying, misinformation, etc. They can use this topic of suicide for so many selfish motives. So exhausting. They're also aiming to make money off this couple and others who have lost young ones due to suicide because the donations are going to Archewell, and they get to keep 95% of the money that goes to their charity. Clearly, her alleged suicidal thoughts are so out of place here. It wasn't about her. The focus should be on the parents who lost their children. She used them as a backdrop for her whining. These two have been blessed in countless ways, and yet they persist in playing the victims. They truly are pathetic, using the same sets of grieving parents as well that were at the last event when she had that totally inappropriate white shoulderless suit on and tons of expensive jewelry. Why would these parents keep being used like this? She is not kind to them, but rather smug and cold. The disrespect towards first responders. Harry, you better apologize. In fact, you owe tons of them. I think Meghan wanted that interview on Oprah shown because I'm sure she feels her acting was worthy of an Oscar. The arrogance of these two Muppets knows no bounds. That they think anyone would believe they are genuine in their empathy for those grief-stricken parents of deceased children is ridiculous. This comes across as them using the devastation of these parents to promote themselves. Ignoring her elderly father is a form of bullying, and always having a dig at the royal family, it's bullying at the highest level. Not letting 3 of the 4 grandparents see the alleged kids either in person or in photos is another form of abuse. Honestly, I can't believe she had the audacity to totally reject him for talking to the press. Seeing her inappropriate smug smile all over because she's so addicted to talking about herself is so hypocritical when her father only spoke about a thing that he felt was good in his life. Poor guy. Not only that, many times she treated other people like she was the Queen of Sheba and they should do her bidding. Like when that woman came on stage, she stopped her from going to the center and directed Henry there instead. Or when she used her hands to motion the guy to move when she was going over to collect the trinkets. or when she walks away from the young girl presenting that basket to her. She's just so dang rude. In short, it best not to feel pity for Harry and Meghan. According to palace staff, made our wonderful, elderly, and sick Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh very stressed by daily going into their quarters and shouting obscenities at both of them, trying to blackmail them to give Windsor Castle and millions of pounds as well to redecorate in Meghan's choices of modern trashy nightmare designs, especially to bully two heads of state, and not calling the police on them is head-scratching at the least. But remember, Queen Elizabeth, bless her soul, was a very private person. So, luckily, Her Majesty made sure they did not have any castle or palace, just Frogmore Cottage, which constantly moaned about. Also, the Queen, before her passing away, made a new will leaving them nothing. Well, that's a blessing, right? I am grateful that you took the time to watch our video. To what extent do you feel about this matter? Please leave a remark below so that I and everyone else can share it. We would be quite grateful if you could show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. I hope that everyone is consistently joyful and full of life. Goodbye, and I hope to see you again soon.